know your plan. Having a strategy is paramount. The best negotiators always set their outcome before the event. They know in advance the result they want and the plans, and they plan the steps, sorry, to get there. So you may say, okay, we're trying to negotiate the price. The price is originally 950. The buyer's asking for 50,000 off. The seller is saying they don't want to do anything. Perhaps in your mind, you're going to go into it saying, oh, well, I'm going to come up with a meet in the middle strategy at some point. If we get the buyer down a little bit, get the buyer up a little bit, the seller down a little bit, we can meet somewhere in the middle to make everyone happy. That's a strategy, right? Same thing when you're putting in an offer. Okay. If you're doing anything, negotiating an inspection, perhaps there are a few little silly things, right? I've heard people say that they wanted the handle on the toilet bowl changed. I mean, like a $10 piece of equipment, and they refuse to buy the house unless the handle on the toilet bowl is changed. That's okay. But that is something that perhaps can be a concession. Whereas, an old, outdated electrical system that, maybe is not too expensive, but the buyer can get a credit and fix it themselves. That is something that, perhaps is a non-negotiable point. But the toilet bowl handle, that could be negotiable. So you have to always know what you're dealing with. Don't ever wing it. Sometimes you can even rehearse or role play what you're going to do, get to know the personalities and the communication styles of the people that you're working with, think through the possible objections and stumbling roadblocks, and know how you can handle these things. Rehearsal, either out loud or in your mind, is crucial to your confidence and your competence and ultimately your success. Always have confidence. So revisit the motivation. So do this before you begin your negotiations. Be careful not to focus only on what is above the surface. Often negotiation will be successful if you can fulfill the underlying motivation, which will be revealed only in the presence of trust between you and your client. So if you've already built this trust, then you're going to go back to them and say, well, what was the original reason you wanted this house? Well, this has everything that you need. So is the toilet bowl handle really that important? I would hate to see you lose a house that you really love because of a toilet bowl handle. Yeah, I know that the upgraded electric system, I know that can be scary, but let's discuss it with the seller and see if we can come up with a mutually beneficial outcome. A little bit of a credit off so that therefore you can take that and upgrade the system that you need to. Remind them why they're buying the house, right? You need to know, why did they want to purchase this particular property in the first place? It's everything that they need. It has the driveway, it has the garage, or it has the amount of bedrooms. It's in the location that they want, right? Remind them of the motivation. If you just focus on the money instead of what the money will enable them to do, you lose. So you want to focus on the right thing. Plan your strategy. Otherwise, the price issue is going to overshadow everything and pride is going to come into play. That's why it's important, even when you're on the listing side, sometimes sellers will tell you their bottom line, but I always tell the sellers, listen, I don't want to know what your bottom line is, right? I don't want to know, because it's going to come into pride. If a seller, example, you're listed for 900,000 and the seller tells you, I'm not taking anything less than 875. But then you get an 825 offer and you know that the house is likely to be worth somewhere between 8 and 850. So you're trying to negotiate the offer, but the seller already told you they're not taking any less than 875. Sometimes the pride comes in because they feel like they're losing out or they didn't stick to their guns, right? But the truth is, hey, listen, seller, I do not want to know. I don't want to know because it can change. Your feelings can change. Things happen. So don't tell me what your bottom line is. Let me just work to do what I can to get you the price the best price possible, because that is what I'm here to do. Same with the buyer. I don't want to know what the most is. Let's figure out the way that we can get you a good price that you're comfortable with. That's also makes the seller happy as well. And remember the win-win situation. Okay, read between the lines to elicit what is special about this particular property. If you know the other person's needs and objectives, you're able to offer options that result in a win-win. So if you did a good job in your forward conversations and your LP mamas, then you already have all of these strategies in your pocket. Be totally present to your client. Instead of stating your personal, very persuasive arguments, you must begin by asking open-ended questions, exploratory questions. Listen attentively to the other person's concerns. Sometimes they just need to get it out and they need to tell you all of their concerns so they can hear themselves out loud. And then you can discuss it from there. Take note of their current stance. Watch their body language and carefully paraphrase to ensure you heard everything and respected their position. Write down any salient points of concern. Even though when your client, what they're saying isn't clear or rational, take the time to demonstrate the concern and respect by writing notes, taking everything down so that you can also refer back to the points at a later point in the process. Don't come across as judgmental or critical, no matter what the client is verbalizing. Try to put yourself in their position, allow them to state their point of view, and pause before giving a response. If you don't agree, these actions will show. And then the respect and understanding, right? You want to show them the respect and understanding, and this will predispose the other to withdraw somewhat and be more open to communication. Right? If you are open, they are open. People feed off of each other's energy. If you sense the other person is not hearing or understanding, it's your responsibility to explore other options to get your views across in a non-threatening way. And this is my favorite. Do not underestimate the power of silence. Silence is a great tool of a skilled negotiator. Sometimes jumping in too soon with a comment or a suggested solution can undermine the negotiator and you lose the advantage. Be comfortable with silence. Parties may need to ponder the outcome before they give an answer. So you may say something to them and, say, hey, listen, what was the real reason you wanted to be over here? Silence. And you let them think about it for a second. And sometimes they have to reevaluate and say, you know what? This is the house for me. This is where I want to be. So I'm not going to make a big deal about the toilet bowl handle, right? I use that because it's silly. There are sometimes some things that are more important, but again, sometimes silly things kill deals. And prevent your client from expressing a rigid attitude. There's an old saying, everything is negotiable, which is nowhere truer than in the real estate world. The best negotiators always leave a little in the pot, and they never allow a client to say things like, that's my final offer, otherwise I'm walking away. Just as I said before, once you let a client verbalize these words, it's hard for them to lose face and back down. So always tell them, I don't want to know what your bottom line is. I don't want to know what your top is. I just want to know how we can get everybody in a win-win situation, get you the house of your dreams, get the seller happy with the buyer that they're going into contract with. Always leave room for movement, even a little. Be flexible and realize that there's always more than one way to get your result. Try to be in your client's mind and get to know your client well enough to anticipate the reactions and the behaviors. Win-win principle. I said it a few times. This leaves both parties feeling like winners. And have a positive, confident attitude, right? I like the little picture on the side. It says positive mind, positive vibes, positive life. Your attitude is going to determine how successful your negotiations will be. Keep a positive picture in your mind of your success. Imagine ringing your buyer to say, congratulations, when the seller puts the final signature on the contract. So often in life, you attract the outcome that is in your mind. So you have to keep your thoughts positive. Expect success, and you're well on your way to achieving it. I always, always, always say that. Again, I will say it again. People feed off of your energy. If you are confident, if you are positive, that's why they say it's so important to surround yourself with the people that the type of person that you want to be, right? Success breeds success. So expect it and you're going to achieve it. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope this was helpful to everyone. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address and phone number is there right on the bottom, Josephine@remaxedgeny.com and 718-628-2810. And you all have a wonderful day.